Hey everyone, and welcome to my YouTube series, Anatomy of How Sedat finally got a new haircut. Yeah, do you see it? Yeah, finally, I'm looking like a human being again. But welcome to another episode of How to Draw a Comic Pinup. Today I will be showing you how I drew this 9x12 Weapon X Wolverine piece. I really liked how it turned out, and I had a lot of fun illustrating it. I'm going to show you what went on in my head while I was drawing the piece, which tools I used, and my general, approach to this. And I hope you guys are going to enjoy this. If you like what you see, as always, subscribe to my channel, comment and like, and maybe share with your friends or on your Facebook or Twitter, whatever. If you want to see more of my work in progress stuff, please go to Instagram. It's at Sedat Özgen. And if you go to if you want to see my Facebook, it's at Sedat Özgen Art. Please check it out. See you soon, and thank you for tuning in.
All right, everyone. So here we are. This is obviously the start of the drawing, and I'm right away starting with Wolverine's or Weapon X's uh, helmet, and I have a very clear idea of what the final picture is going to look like. And I have to say that by the end of the video, the illustration looks very close to what I had in mind. Although I made it a very elaborate and detailed sketch, this time it wasn't as complicated and as big as one of my last drawings. This one here is drawn on 9x12, and for me the idea was just to show you guys that the size really doesn't matter. You can basically draw on any size, unless it's too small, to make something cool. And as you can see, I am progressing very fast, and I am starting to sketch out some three trees in the background. It's they are naked trees. I'm not sure what the right word is for that, but it's winter time. It's snowing outside, and so the trees won't have any leaves. They will just have these rusty looking, old looking kind of branches, but other than that, the drawing will be mostly concentrating on Wolverine. And I'm using the brush pen again, and I have to say that the trapjaw sketch was really inspiring for me, and it helped me quite a lot with my artwork, because I feel like that these videos that I have been doing for some time now, I think this must be like my 7th or 8th video, I'm not sure, helped me quite a lot in becoming a better artist. And I know it always sounds kind of weird when you say something like that, but the fact that I am drawing this stuff and that I'm recording myself helped me to understand some of the mistakes that I sometimes make, and some of the decisions that I used to make that don't help me or are not advantageous for me. I stop doing that. It's like like behavior that doesn't make you successful in life, that you want to get rid of. And the same thing goes for these videos, because when I was watching myself do some other drawings, I would realize where I would have my weak points and weaknesses that I could probably figure out and basically get rid of. And even if I don't have anyone following me, watching these videos or whatever, at least I can say that they were helpful to me, and helping me in my progress as an artist, because I figured to, I managed to figure out how to uh, um, improve, how to become faster, which is very important because I used to be, or I'm still probably a little bit slow when it comes to drawing, but I feel like that my speed in doing complicated stuff has become much better. And um, the fact that this video took me probably like only 2 hours is quite good, because usually when I have the camera looming over my head, it takes twice as much time for me as it would when I'm not recording myself. But it is very interesting. And the other cool thing is that by recording myself and mostly doing the stuff with the brush pen, I would leave out a lot of the nonsense stuff that I would usually do in terms of getting lost and caught up in some of the details. Instead, I try to focus on just placing the right lines with as much energy and as organic looking and as dynamic looking as possible. And I know it sounds probably weird when I say this, but once again, sometimes it's hard to explain something that you experience as an artist, and especially trying to capture it in words, because I'm such a visual person. But once again, I think that working with these brush pens has helped me a lot, and doing these videos has helped me even more, because I think you quit doing some things that you usually would do, and it helped me um, to get to a point where I feel more comfortable with some of my art, because many times I would hate how some of my inks would turn out, and now I'm thinking, or at least I'm hoping, that I'm starting to understand what's going on, and I think that I'm starting to become able to apply um, this understanding into my art. I hope that it's working. I think it is, and since I have been, able to do that with this video, I think the next ones will also show the improvements that I've made in my work, and I'm very happy with that. I'm very proud of that, and I think this shows you guys that even after a very short time, with a little bit of dedication, that you will notice a form of growth that you probably wouldn't if you stay within your comfort zone and without the right amount of discipline. And I think that discipline is a very important word in this regard, because to be honest with you, when I started doing these videos, I was kind of thinking, yeah, maybe, maybe not, blah 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 blah. Wasn't sure if I'm going to be able to keep on doing it, and if I was able to stay focused. But somehow it has sort of become like a routine for me now, and it helps me. And I think that a lot of people who have quote unquote successful um, behavior, or people who are successful, try to stay within their behavior of success and continue and improve in that regard. And I think that in some ways this is applicable for every part of life, not just, I don't know, business or whatever. I think it may be possible for artists to, especially when you're starting to do things that you usually wouldn't do, and if you continuously do what you're doing. Because in my case it's like this: I would usually at night draw stuff that I'm very fast with and that I can do, so I can post it on Instagram and Facebook and have it done, and I know I wasn't lazy, or I know that I did something on paper, blah 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 blah. But by doing this stuff, I am challenging myself a little bit more. It's more detailed, it's more, it's more sophisticated and everything, but still I think it is not only an improvement for for me, but also for my work related stuff. And if you look at this sketch so far, I think that especially his face and those cords around his shoulders and neck area look really really cool. I don't know why I like them so much, but they kind of remind me of the um, those broad strokes that Jim Lee would do in his death blow stuff, and I haven't been doing this on purpose. This was basically just a result of me working with a brush, and I always had an affinity for that sort of look, and I think it's working really nice, and I really also like how some of the lines on his arms and shoulders make it look as if they were cut off by the hair, or that some of his hair on the shoulder is casting a shadow onto his shoulder. And I like the way the the teeth are sort of glowing because they are kept in white, while everything around it is very black and grayish, which is cool, I think. And it's really, I don't think that there was anything in this drawing that I was struggling with. It kind of felt like I was in such a good mood that everything went as I was hoping it would. Of course, there's always a little bit of this and that you're not happy with, but and it's never perfect. But I like where it's going. I like the artwork. I am, by the end, definitely happy with the final result, and that is the most important thing. It's not about those certain areas that you like or dislike. It's about being satisfied with the result, and this is something that I'm very satisfied with. I'm very proud of the drawing. I really like it, despite the fact that it's just a sketch, because it shows me a few things. It shows me that I am improving as an artist, which is important, and that's the cool thing about art. You can only improve. You barely see anyone who becomes worse at art. And no matter how old you are, you're always improving. You're always improving as an artist. You always make progress, and that is the coolest thing. And I think it also depends on the routine that you have. And if you're adding something more challenging to the routine, you will become even better as an artist. And this is my advice for you guys. If you are trying to improve and if you're trying to become better, do two things: challenge yourself regularly and do something regularly, maybe like twice or three times a week. And maybe you can start recording yourself while you're drawing. You don't have to make YouTube videos out of it if you're feeling uncomfortable, or you don't have to do, I don't know, anything that's uh, being publicly shown. But what you can do is that you start recording yourself, and then you watch yourself. You watch what you're doing, and you start to understand why you're doing it, and maybe why you should stop doing it, and try to improve in that regard or in that field. And this is something, I don't know why, but that I learned from watching myself doing these videos, because I think it was around the Green Lantern sketch that I did, that I started realizing where I was making mistakes and where things worked better. And I think in this video, and especially the Trapjaw video, those improvements showed. And it wouldn't have happened without me trying to do this, because if I hadn't done what I'm doing here, I probably just would have continued doing the same thing that I was doing before. And I promise you that for the future videos, there will be even more um, challenging stuff for myself. And I'm trying to still keep it in the same time frame that I am having now, because I will probably spend 3 hours, maybe 4 hours on one day to get one of these sketches done. And I'm doing around 4 sketches, so it's one day per week. And it's if it's like a big drawing like the Trapjaw piece, that it's going to be 3 or 4 hours. This one obviously was only 2.5 hours, but if it's a bigger one, then the time frame will be around 3 hours to maybe 4 hours. And I think that it's showing here. I think that it's visibly, and I'm really, really happy with the fact that I started doing this, and that I'm putting my drawings onto YouTube again. And I really hope that they are helpful to you guys as well, because you guys can see where I'm struggling and where I'm feeling comfortable and where I'm feeling confident with my stuff. And I think that it's very interesting for you to see even someone who's maybe more experienced still improving with their stuff. And I think that you guys see the difference from the first video to this video, and it has only been 4 videos now, so this should be my 5th or so, I'm not sure, in terms of pin-up videos. And I think the improvements show, and I think the same thing will also happen with my sequential panels that I'm uploading here to YouTube, because I liked where the first few ones went, but I am definitely going to be putting more emphasis on using thicker lines, more shading and everything, the way I'm doing it here, in order to get the look that I'm aiming for. And as I've mentioned before, anxiety can be quite a challenging and difficult thing, and this was the case for some of my sequential work in the past. But right now I'm feeling comfortable and I'm feeling confident, and I think that I'm finally getting into this sort of mind state where I'm less afraid. And this is a good thing. Being afraid is a bad thing. And it's okay to have fear, but you know, as they said in Game of Thrones, there can be no bravery without, or there can be no courage without fear. And that's something that you should always keep in mind. And now I'm adding some, I've added some splattering onto the paper, and now using the whiteout pen in order to emphasize certain things in the background, for example, the tree branches, which are going to be a little bit more uh, realistic, removing some lines. And I've said this before in another video. Jim Lee once said this in one of his live streams. When you're working with the whiteout pen, don't make it look like it's white out, but make it look as if you're adding or taking away something from the art, and make it, you know, make it, it has to make sense. You can't just use whiteout for the sake of using whiteout. It should be adding something to the work, and I think it does that here in this drawing, because I am in some cases adding blacks or taking away blacks where they shouldn't be, and it's working nicely. It's starting to look better, and now I am taking a less opaque white out pen in order to create some halo sort of looking lines. There's a little bit of flare, and now I'm using whiteout and adding it with my finger onto the paper and making it look as if there's warm breath coming out of his mouth in this winter environment, and it adds to the atmosphere of the drawing. And I'm really liking how it's turning out, and I'm really happy with it. And I'm just basically adding some splattering into the backgrounds. It could be, you know, snow, it could be stars, nobody knows. It just adds the right amount of texture that this drawing needed. And we're heading towards the end. If you like this video, please subscribe, follow me on Instagram, Facebook. Thank you very much. Bye bye.